In today's video, I'm going to be detailing my 2014 Honda Valkyrie. It has been setting for about a year and a half, and I finally had a chance to fix the clutch and bleed the brakes and stuff. So it's ready for the road, but it's pretty dirty. And I had a friend of mine in Huntington Park, California, Carlos Benitez. He'd asked me, how do I detail my bike? So I said, okay, I'll do a video and show you what I use and how I actually get my bikes nice and clean and shiny. I have over here several products, stuff I have in my cabinet, and some of the things that I use. For instance, I have lots of cleaning agents and stuff. What I don't have is I do not have dish soap. When we were kids and we used to wash cars, we used to go inside and grab the dish soap out of the kitchen and wash cars. And that was actually a bad thing, because if you don't know, dish soap actually strips the car and the paints of its oils and waxes and stuff. So that was always a bad idea. So there's actually special soap designed for cleaning cars, motorcycles, things of that nature. And there's all kinds of things to clean rims and tires and stuff. And this has kind of been my go-to thing for cleaning the wheels on a motorcycle, especially the rims. It does seem to work very well. But again, there's all different kinds of cleaning agents you can use, all kinds of different waxes, wax on, wax off, just quick detail. There's stuff for ceramic coating paint, instant detailer, quick detailer, glass cleaner for your windshields. We use Windex. I picked this up at Tell the Dragon down in North Carolina, Tennessee, if any of you have ever ridden that route before. This was kind of expensive, but this actually works pretty good. I think I paid like $25, $28 for this. Something else I picked up at Harley. I have not tried this yet. It's supposed to be pretty good, although it was a reduced price. So I'm not sure how good it is yet, but I will be trying it here soon. This, believe it or not, is actually pretty good. I learned this from a dealership when I was stationed in Germany back in the early 80s. And the guy told me you can actually use that on paint on a car, just kind of wipe it off as a quick detail. And I've been doing it for years, and I haven't had any problems with it. It actually works pretty good. People didn't believe me until I showed them. So you can do that in a quick pinch just to wipe your bike down or whatever. And of course you have polishing compounds. Again, I got this from Chemical Guys, different stages. This one's 36 for cutting polish, and this one is V38 finishing polish. And I'm going to be using those today. Some of the tools to use. This works really well for getting inside the rims, especially some of my bikes that have a lot of spokes, and so this does really well getting in there. A washing mitt, put your hand in there, works really well. These are worth their weight in gold when you're doing around the dashes and the consoles and hard to get to areas. Works really well. This is great. This is a foaming gun. You fill it up full of the detergent halfway and put water and rest. This does really great. And then I have these kind of dual action polishers that I will be using today. Something else, clay bars. I will be talking about using clay bars, getting oxidation, some of the stuff off the paint after I wash the bike first, and then a clay bar it, and then I'll go back and wash it again and do some waxing. Some other things to talk about are microfibers. You gotta have them. Do not use towels anymore. If you're looking for a really nice detailed vehicle, get microfibers, but make sure that you don't grab the microfibers that have stuff on it like this. These are basically garbage. If you do like I do, you get lazy, you just grab the first towel you find to wipe other stuff off. Don't use this on your vehicles anymore. Just throw these away or continue to use these as cleaning rags, but do not use these on your paint anymore. They will scratch it. All right, now for those hard to get areas when you're drying your vehicle, be surprised how much a blower works out real well getting the water out of the engine, especially on your Harleys. There's some areas you just can't get to with rags and stuff, so that works really well. And of course, those you have access to this, a little air compressor with a blower tip on it, works really well. So those are things you need. I'm going to pause the camera for right now and get set up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so one of the first things I did is I filled up a bucket full of soapy water to have that ready to go. And I've got my cleaning mitt with me ready to go, and also the cleaning brushes I'm going to be using. So first thing I'm going to do is just wet the bike down. Ideally, you want to do this out of the sunlight, direct sunlight, but unfortunately right now we have some, or have a canopy, which I have, I just didn't bring it out, just to kind of shield the bike from direct sunlight. But I'll try and get it done as fast as I can. Now, because of this type of bike, mostly everything, the engine compartments are all covered, but if you're doing like a Harley and stuff, you may need to cover the intake, the breather intake, keep any water from going there. But this bike is pretty much waterproof all the way around. Everything's sealed down. All right, once you got the bike hose down, and then you just attach the foam gun to it, and you start spraying away, and this works really well. And you see, you just foam the whole bike. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if the foaming stuff really works. Just like we go to the car wash and see all these little foaming guns, and sometimes we pay extra for it to have that look of foam. I really don't know if that makes a difference or not, other than using a brush with foam, but it looks good. So, put on a mitt here and just go to town. Sometimes it's all the different colors in the foam that makes you think that it's actually working. I really don't know if it makes a difference or not. If you know, please leave a comment in the comment section. You can like, you don't have to subscribe. I'm not trying to make money on a YouTube channel. It's just something I just started because people would ask me to show them a few things. I do kind of a lot of different things. Construction is kind of my go-to thing, things that I learned in the military. But now that I'm retired, I spend more time messing with motorcycles. I've never had any formal motorcycle training as far as building engines or anything like that. It's just stuff that I've been playing with for years, so I can do certain things. One of my goals has always been to rebuild a Harley engine. And hopefully one of these days I'll meet somebody that will actually show me how to do that. I can do a lot of basics. I've taken forks apart and rebuilt those myself. I've done a lot of the stage 1 stuff to Harley, if you're familiar with that. I've changed out wheels and stuff, but I've never actually taken the engine apart. Again, it's something I want to do while I'm still alive and well. And so hopefully I'll get that opportunity, even if I have to just buy an engine myself and figure it out, and watching YouTube videos, because that's how I've learned a lot of stuff, just watching videos and learning from other people. So maybe some of you out there watching this will, learn how to detail the bike. It's not a whole lot to it. Washing is one thing, but you start getting into waxing and polishing stuff, maybe you'll pick up some, but there's tons of other videos out there. You may get something out of this. You may opt to watch somebody else. But again, my whole purpose of doing this video is just to satisfy a request from a friend of mine. So I hope, Carlos, I hope you get something out of this, because your bike is pretty dirty last time I saw it. I tell you, I've actually polished this bike before. When I first brought it here, because my brother was a truck driver before he passed away, and this bike was left out in the truck yard, and it sat there for days. It was very oxidized stuff in the California sun, and I really spent a lot of time on it. But it's been sitting in my garage for a while because I didn't have time to mess with it. But finally the other day, believe it or not, I didn't have anything to do. So I said, well, let me work on that now, because the intent was to sell it, and still not sure if I'm gonna do that or not. My wife said I have too many motorcycles, and I mean, that's like saying she has too many shoes. And unlike her, I actually ride all my motorcycles. But that's one of those arguments you just can't have. And it's not working. Actually, it's not really an argument. Believe it or not, my wife and I don't really argue. There's no point. You just say yes a lot. Leave it at that. Now, something else that's great to have when you're working on it is bring yourself a stool or a chair that rolls around. Because it's not fun being on your hands and knees when you're doing wheels. But this works really well, getting in these tight spots. So this particular bike, again, it's 2014 Honda Valkyrie. I think they made these bikes in the 90s. They look really more like a cruiser, kind of like, I guess they try to make them look like Harleys or those earlier Yamahas, Roadstars or whatever. Then they quit making them. So they came back with this 2014, 2015. And from what I understand, this Honda lost a lot of money because they overpriced them. So they made this style for 2 years and they quit making them. They wanted a lot of money for it, but basically this is considered a gold wing, completely stripped down. It's a unique looking bike. Like I say, it really holds its value. There's not a big market for them. There certainly isn't any aftermarket parts for it. But I will say one thing, and I'm a Harley guy, and this might upset a few Harley folks, but it does ride faster and smoother than any of my Harleys. And I have 4 Harleys sitting in the garage. But I am definitely a Harley loyalist. I wouldn't get rid of my Harleys for any other brand. All right, so this one doesn't really have an instrument cluster, it just has this. So we'll use it just so you can see what it does. But for a Harley with all the gauges, this works really well. Get down in here, not as hard to reach too many places. Doesn't really matter, but works great on a Harley. All right. Rinse it down one more time. soap. Definitely a lot of bubbles. All right. Now onto the clay. Now there's actually, when you buy this stuff, there's actually some sort of liquid cleaner that you can get with this stuff to apply it easier. It's probably not gonna be an issue on this bike, but if it was highly oxidized, a lot of stuff on it, basically you just take this clay and you rub it over the liquid. The soap will work just fine. And you'll feel it'll be a little sticky when you put it on. When you start rubbing it and it's smooth, it means you got off all the oxidation and stuff, but it should just go smoothly over all the paint. But when you feel it start sticking, that means there was something there that you're actually getting off. But the idea is when you run it over the paint, that you don't feel any surface that's sticky, because that's the oxidation or whatever else might be sticking there. But like I said, I've already done this, so this is just more to illustrate the process, because this is just gliding right over the paint. So this is for you, Carlos, because I think you definitely need some clay bar on your bike. I've noticed a couple areas on this front fender where it was sticking a little bit. But again, you want to make sure that the area is wet and it's got a little bit of soap or cleaner on it so it glides over it. There. That's it. Rinse it out again. All that off. I like to rub my hand over it, just make sure it's nice and smooth. I don't feel any leftover bugs or anything that I missed. So if you got nice paint, you'll feel a bug or an imperfection when you run your hand over it. Okay. Now I'm going to take the soap dispenser off. We're just going to get all the soap off of it. Okay. So for the most part, it's clean. And so next step that I do is I start drying as much as I can, and then I'll start with the leaf blower, and then if I need to use the air hose, I'll use that too. Main thing is the sun's actually starting to shift a little bit, but you don't want sunspots to start kicking in and start drying on the paint. But in any case, when I start polishing and stuff, a lot of that's going to come out anyhow. This is a nice color, some sort of burgundy. I forgot what Honda calls it. But if I do keep it, and I'm not 100% sure I will, I'm thinking candy apple red. That's kind of a selling point because my wife does love that color. So if I go with candy apple red, it's more likely I'll keep the bike and she won't complain about it. But she loves that color. But it's fun to ride. If you're not familiar with this bike, it does have a, I guess they call it a flathead 6. Basically, it has a car engine on it. Don't know how fast it'll go. I just know it goes fast. And as my wife tells everybody, I'm a law-abiding citizen, so I will never know how fast it really goes. I guess I can Google it and see what the top speed is, but I won't test that theory. I have another friend, and he told me, obviously I won't say his name, he told me he's got a BMW, it's a 1600, this is an 1800 cc, and he said he had that bike up to 160 miles an hour. And I'm like, okay, well, if we were racing, you'd win, because I'm not going that fast. And he said, I was going 130 with a passenger on the back. Okay. I'm glad they trust you. I'm not doing that. It's like you see some of these knuckleheads on these sport bikes doing stupid stuff out on the highways and freeways. And it's one thing when they're doing it, but when they got a passenger on the back, I'll tell you one thing. If that was my daughter on the back of that bike, that guy would have a rough day when I caught him. Put my daughter's life in jeopardy like that. I'm sure if you're a father, I would hope you'd feel the same way. So there's a lot of stupid people out there on motorcycles. And I ain't gonna lie, when I was young and stupid, I did some crazy stuff, but not like these kids do today. I didn't do any of that crazy stuff. I didn't even know how. Not saying I wouldn't have done it, I just didn't know how. But they seem to have no fear at all. I don't know if that comes from playing video games or what. I started playing video games. There was a game called Pong, if you can think that far back. I think that was the first video game ever. It's boring today. But I couldn't see anybody trying to play it, but there was no hazard with it. You weren't trying to conquer the world, that's for sure. My son tried to get me to play, I think it was World Worlds or something like that. I couldn't even get the guy to move. So, like, yeah, it's not for me. Definitely not a gamer. I got better things to do with my time. Although, I do know a lot of people these days, of course, they're much younger than me. That's what they do. They play video games. My generation, call it Generation X. Yeah, that's old people now. We found other things to do to occupy our time, like video games. I don't want to blast the younger generation too much because that is the future, for better or for worse. It's just Not my generation. But I will say one thing people forget is our generation created the internet. Maybe that was a good thing, maybe it was a bad thing, because there's a lot of stupid things nowadays because of the internet. Ruined a lot of lives. But it's done a lot of good. I mean, it's kind of why we're talking right now. All right. A few more areas I can't get to, so I'm gonna break out the blower and we're gonna take a break. Well, that was interesting. I was blowing out the intakes. You got radiators on both sides, and it was blowing all kinds of soap and bubbles out of the intake on that side. So it's a good thing. It wasn't going to hurt it, but it works. Okay, so all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to finish wiping the bike down again, and we'll get set up for polish, and we'll take it from there. So I'm going to pause right now. Okay, on to the next step, polishing the motorcycle. I'm going to be using this orbital polisher. This is a 3-inch, which is good for the motorcycle because I got a smaller area, smaller surface to work with. I do have a 5-inch, 5.5-inch, and it works for cars and bigger surfaces. But this is great for motorcycle because, again, I got a smaller area to work with. And then there's different colors, pads to use for this particular size. Different pads, different abrasive surfaces to work with. Green, yellow, orange, kind of my go-to pad. But something to keep in mind when you're doing polishing with these types of things, you're not going to hurt the paint at all. It just kind of cleans it, polishes stuff, but you don't have to worry about burning through the clear coat. Now, if you're using an actual polisher with a wool pad and stuff that spins real fast that professionals use, that you have to be careful with. I wouldn't suggest that. If anybody hadn't done that kind of polishing, stay with it, stay away from it until you do a lot of practice because you will burn through the paint, you'll ruin your paint. But this stuff right here, you don't have to worry about this. You can do this all day long. You're not gonna hurt anything. Different polish compounds, different companies make different things. Again, these are by chemical guys. Again, I'm not sponsoring them. This one here, it's V36, it's a cutting polish. Like I said, first time I used it on this bike, it was very oxidized. This worked very well. It's just a little more abrasive. And I believe I used a green pad. It's a little more abrasive. It broke through the oxidation, and then I followed up with a polishing compound, finished polishing compound. It brought the shine out. All right, so I'm not going to be using this one today. And just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to be using the finishing compound just to bring a little more luster to it, and again to show Carlos how this works because your bike definitely needs it. So with that, I'm going to get started here and show you the process. I'm going to just go with the orange pad today. Get this stool out of my way. Use a Velcro stick. Just put it center, about like that. Now, when you put this on, it's pretty thick paste in there, so you gotta get it to the tip. You just put a couple drops on the pad, 4 or 5, right? That's all you need to start with, Carlos. Now, when you first start out, and you watch several videos, they all say the same thing. Start on a very low speed, between 1 and 2. And what you're gonna do, Carlos, is you're gonna take it and you're just gonna dab it on the paint. And the reason for that, you kind of spread it out, because if you turn it on, it's gonna fling this stuff everywhere. It's not gonna go on the paint. Just kind of spread it out, and you're gonna start slow. Okay, just to smooth it out, even it out, just in a small area. And once you have it spread out, then you're going to increase the speed. It's between 4 or 5, maybe 6. And all you're going to do is just keep going back and forth until it's almost clear. So you want to just keep overlapping. Make sure you cover the entire area that you're working with. And just keep overlapping and stuff. And just kind of take your time. Don't go too fast. Just an even coverage back and forth. Something. And then when you finish that area, you're just going to wipe it. And that shine comes right through. And when I'm finished, I'm going to show you the whole thing. But I'm going to do the whole area now, the whole tank, and then I'll come back and I'll give you a close-up. So let me put some more compound on it. To about 2, just to spread it out. Okay. To about 4 or 5. Now it doesn't matter if you go back over the area that you've already went over prior, because you can wipe it all off. So again, you're just overlapping. It doesn't matter. Okay. Sorry. Take the camera off the stand. All right, so I give you a close-up, kind of what the tank looks like after I polished it. So it's got a nice luster to it, no streaks. Now there's a couple scuffs in the paint. I don't know if you can see them or not, but there are certain scratches you're just not going to get out. But all in all, she looks pretty nice. So we'll get the other side. So the bike is completely done. All the polishing is done. So I'm just going to do a quick walk around to show you how the bike turned out. Again, it's a pretty old bike, but it turned out really nice. There's a couple scratches in there that the polish is not going to take out, but the paint is pretty shiny for the most part. Chrome is nice and clean. Just wipe that down. Although it is plastic, it's not metal. Honda tends to use a lot of plastic. The fenders are plastic, the covers are plastic. The only thing metal, I think, is the frame and the tank. Get on the sunny side here. But I mean, I don't know if you can see the metallic in there or not. Maybe. Turned out really nice. So that's one bike down today. We got 4 more to do, and that means all my bikes will be clean today, and that'll last until the next ride. All right, Carlos Benitez in Huntington Park, California. I hope that gives you a little bit of guidance on the way to detail a bike. Again, everybody has their way of doing it. That's the way I do it. So hopefully you learned something from it. Okay, until next video, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.